Alright, hey everyone, I'm Felicia Rondo, and that's close to over there,
Hello.
and this is another edition of Bitsley Book Club. Today we've gone from 1996 all the way back to this current year of 2022. And we're back from Archie to IDW with this latest issue of the current Sonic the Hedgehog comic series. And as viewers of Bitsley Book Club may know from previous episodes, we tend to like this comic, especially when it's written by Evan Stanley, who is doing it this time.
Yeah, we've so far only covered one issue by Evan, but we do plan to go back and review, well, basically everything we've done because it's all been pretty great, and we do want to cover it all.
Absolutely. Um, but yeah, this is issue 49. It came after issue 3 of Imposter Syndrome, and there's kind of this whole staggered release thing we kind of get into in our other book club episodes. But
Suffice it to say, we're not a fan of
we're really
the
not.
the current release schedule because they're month by month is alternating between the main series and the Imposter Syndrome miniseries.
Yeah.
Unlike the previous two times there have been miniseries where they just released them both at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And also, unlike the previous times there have been miniseries, the miniseries this time is being included in recaps. Meanwhile, the next month page at the end of the comic still has the next issue in the main series, which is coming out in 2 months, not.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't just been having the next month, like, page be the cover of the actual comic coming out next month. And instead, they're just doing it like the miniseries just keep advertising the next miniseries issue, even though it's a 2 month gap, and the main series keeps advertising the next main series issue, even though it's a 2 month gap.
Yeah, it just speaks to, like, a lack of modularness that is really just not really realistic given how modern things are now. Like, this was obviously planned in advance, and in our digital age, we have all the tools we need to adjust to things. It's not like this was very last minute.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I don't mind the fact that, like, at the very least, the staggered release does mean that even though both these comics are clearly very critical to understanding the current plotline, you don't have to buy 2 comics a month.
Yeah.
Whereas the second miniseries, Bad Guys, was definitely tied into the Tyrus and Batting Bases, the storyline at the time, but it was very loose. It was basically just that there were things in Crab that were originally set up in Bad Guys, but the both stories were written mostly independently of one another, so it was a very different thing as opposed to now, where we have our main series issues with Adam Stanley and then Ian Flynn over on the miniseries, and the previous issues of the main series were very much tying into and basically promoting Imposter Syndrome. While Imposter Syndrome has very much been setting up issue 50, but now, with issue 49, it feels much more like we here in the main series are setting up issue 50, which...
You imagine that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, without further ado, if we may just go right into the comic.
I mean, I do want to comment a bit on the covers, because I feel like we often
I was going to do that first, yeah. So the cover, cover A by Adam Bryce Thomas. I wasn't
and
too...
colors by Leonardo Ito.
Yeah. I wasn't too hot on it when I first saw it, and I'm still not the most into it, but after having read the comic, I think it sort of matches the vibe it's going for in various ways.
It It definitely appeals to the sort of horror aesthetic that if you are familiar with Evan Stanley's non-official Sonic works, you may be
Yeah.
familiar with her fan comic Ghost of the Future.
We do recommend it.
Yeah, it's quite good. And as you might tell from the ghosts in the title of Ghost of the Future, it has a fair bit of ghosts in it, and so
Oh.
um, and in Evan's like other personal non-commercial work, she's definitely gone more towards that horror vibe. So it is definitely a Matt's, and we'll get into how it also relates to the comic.
Mm-hmm.
The other two covers basically both go for the same thing, just in different ways, with
Yeah.
more directly referencing the whole control signal plot point that
Yeah.
was the main thing being talked about, or the only thing maybe in the solicits for this issue.
Yeah. Yeah. The cover B by Gigi Dutray has Sonic looking just kind of awkward around the egg ponds,
As
and
they march towards a tower, and there are like
mhm.
flappers and the the
Yeah.
sips
Yeah.
from like heroes just all
Mm-hmm.
converging.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the Natalie Fordrain's retail incentive cover, which just has the egg ponds looking somewhere, and they're reflecting Sonic, Tails, and Belle, who are looking at something at a light.
Yeah, presumably the same tower, I
Yeah.
guess. These seem to basically be just conveying the same event, but the event itself isn't quite in the comic. It's mostly there, but like in terms of like relating to the comic, I am at least happy to say that cover A is doing the best job of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm not specifically like I don't have strong feelings about any of these covers, and I like it better when I do have like a strong like positive association to at least one cover, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And, covers aren't always going to appeal specifically to me, and none of these happen to for me.
Yeah. Moving on to the credits page, it's here we learn that story and art are drawn by Evan Stanley, colors by Matt Herms and Heather Breckel, letters by Sean Lee, and the editors are Riley Farmer and David Marriott. The story so far page includes segments from the past two comics that have come out. And when I say that, I don't mean 48 and 47. I mean 48 and Imposter Syndrome issue 3, but also and also IDW Sonic issue 47. So I just kind of
Yeah.
embarrassed myself. But
Well, there's
it was
actually
46, right?
yeah, I believe there was a panel here from 46, which was in the middle
Yeah.
of test run.
Then two panels from
Um,
48.
Two panels from 48. There's two panels from Imposter Syndrome 3, and then there's actually one panel from the end
Of test run.
of Test Run. Did I say Test Run the first time? I meant Trial by Fire. There's a panel from the middle of Trial by Fire, anyway.
Yeah. We very much confused this story so far.
Yeah,
But
it's basically just like, you know, mostly just setting up, Surge and Kit, and then, which panel was this? Right, just reminding us about how Belle was made by Mr. Tinker,
yeah,
which technically was revealed at the end of Test Run, though. It was not like a mystery that was, I think, intended to be that deep for the audience.
yeah.
It was something that was more a revelation for the characters.
You can have those in stories. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then we have just a characteristically just bad cast page. Why do they have these just bad?
The cast page, number one, they still are using that one drawing of Tails. I don't think it's a good drawing of Tails. I'm not certain who did it, but like, they've probably drawn Tails that are better than this.
Yeah.
I feel like most people who've drawn Tails have probably drawn Tails that are better than this, because this one just doesn't look very good. It's also like, for Belle, she has an awkward expression that doesn't. I didn't like it when I saw it in the comic.
And I haven't liked it since.
They keep using it for the cast page. There are so many good drawings of Belle. And of course, as usual, the art styles are classing because they're taken from different issues drawn by different people, and
Mm-hmm. If you ever just want to disabuse someone of the notion that there is an IDW style, just have them take a gander at any given cast page. It's not going to look very cohesive.
yeah. I wish they did look more. Just
Take
sometimes
from the
they will.
comic,
Sometimes they will take from the comic.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time they just have to keep sticking with the one image, and I know it's a small thing, and we know we keep bringing it up, but that's because it bugs us every time.
Yeah. But now we're at the comic, and we're back at Tails's the Tails house from the beginning of Chow Races and Badnik Bases, and probably a video game.
This one is Tails' house? Lab? Which one is his lab? This is one of the many buildings Tails seems to own.
Just Tails
Not the
Moneybags
one from
Prowler.
Sonic Adventure, and not the one from Sonic Battle.
Yeah.
But a one that's probably been in something. It's the one that has, like, the windows that are like his ears,
A bit.
but doesn't look like his face.
Yeah.
I much more care for this one.
I like this one a lot better.
I'm glad Evan keeps bringing us to this one,
Yeah.
and not the one that's his face.
I don't like the one that is his face.
I don't like that Pokemon Mystery Dungeon
I don't like
face house.
I don't like the face house. I don't like it.
But, we see Belle and Tails with Sonic under a seat with a rope tied to it, getting ready to do some manner of experiment.
Ooh.
As we learn that our Moto Buddy friend is apparently being named Motobud without the extra D and the Y. I'm still going to call this one Moto Buddy because I think that rolls up the tongue a bit better.
Yeah, Moto Buddy.
Yeah. But as they previously hinted at the end of Trial by Fire, they're taking Moto Buddy, who is a fun, nice badnik, specifically a
Yeah.
Oh, the ladybug that rolls around on wheels. Motobug. Why? It's on the page in front of me.
Sorry.
I'm doing great.
Can I just say actually, on that note, Belle corrects herself. She's like, Motobug, I mean Motobud.
Yeah.
Which makes me think someone else, probably Sonic, came up with the name Motobud. Which is a fun detail for me. It might not be what was intended, but I'm taking it as that.
Mm-hmm. It feels like more a Sonic move than a Tails or Belle move.
He names things.
Mm-hmm.
Chip. Emerald.
Yeah. But, yeah. Moto Buddy is, of course, the Motobug that was reconstructed by Mr. Tinker years ago in real time.
Mm-hmm.
In issue, like, 13 or 14 or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact number. And was recently happened upon by Belle in the forest during Trial by Fire.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, they hook up the Miles Electric, Tails' little handheld computer, to Moto Buddy, and broadcast out from him the non-aggressiveness that Mr. Tinker endowed him with when he fixed him up.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, Cluster, why wasn't Motobud in the cast page? Oh, what does that spell for our little friend? Oh, we'll see.
But, Belle activates the hopefully non-aggressive signal. Tails.
After Sonic references a line of dialogue that used to be a catchphrase of his. I'm waiting is what he says in the comic.
Back in the old cartoons, he'd say that a lot.
Yeah. It's fun. Very innocuous. You can fit it into your script if you like. But, yeah.
Tails yanks the seat off of Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
And Sonic has a lovely line here.
Yeah, if I may go ahead and read it. Wow, it's great to be Sonic the Hedgehog, completely unaware of any nearby danger. I sure hope no Bannocs try to sneak up on me. And they just kind of, the Bannocs just kind of fuck around.
Yeah, there are two types that are present here. These little penguins and top hats that I'm not personally familiar with,
Yeah.
and what look to be like little baby motobugs.
One of them falls over.
They're ladybugs, but they don't have like anything threatening about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the penguins picks a flower. One of them dances on a rock. One's following a butterfly.
Yeah. So fun.
Yeah, Sonic actually jokingly takes issue with being passed over for a rock.
Am I really that boring? I'm losing to a rock.
Very fun.
It's very fun. But yeah, it seems to work.
Yeah, and Bell says if we can get this reprogramming to stick, all Eggman's robots could be saved, which is a nice little bit and a nice little like. I like that. That's what's on her mind is just saving all the robots.
Yeah, not just like, oh, we'll make them our allies in our war. No, just wanting them to be able to not have to worry about fighting all the time.
Yeah. Tails, meanwhile, is worried since between the mysterious forest fire and what the whole blackout in the city, there's some mysterious things going on that don't quite seem to be Eggman's style. Number one, Eggman hasn't sewn up to take credit.
Yeah, but like, also, I'm just gonna say, I love the art that Evan Sally drew here, with the forest fire and the electrified water, tidal wave over the city. It's a very artful, like, one panel recap of what's been going on.
Yeah.
It's very well done.
Evan's art is, of course, phenomenal as always.
It is always my favorite, but Sonic just dismisses Tails' concerns, saying if Eggman starts something, we'll handle it.
Yeah, no worries on this, Sonic.
And except lunch, and he asks Tails how tacos sound.
Not silly dogs. Is Sonic okay?
Is what Tails asks, and Sonic, speaking as much to readers, people who talk about Sonic online, and Tails, as much as he is talking to Tails, says, I like to eat other things. I'll have a chili dog for dessert. And we have this nice, since Belle wants to stay out there for a little while, we have this nice panel of Belle just laying in the grass with Motobud.
Yeah, see, this is like petting and Motobud's like cell and Motobuddy, by the way. Just because we haven't reviewed Trial by Fire ourselves yet, has this really cute affectation where one of their antennae fell off. Yeah. And I think it was at the end of Trial by Fire they picked a flower. Yeah. And they stuck it in the hole there.
It's so fun.
Motobud now just has a flower there.
That's so fun. We love it.
Yeah. But as we leave on that adorable image of Belle and Motobud, we cut to later with Sonic sleeping on the couch with a book over his face, which of course, very much something Sonic would do and has done in the past.
He's just waking up from being within that book's world when he finds Motobud scratching at the door. And I just love how much Sonic sounds like a pet owner in this scene. Just, what's up, little dude? Do you want to go out? Let's give the door a break. And then Motobud becomes for one, in this very panel, the flower falls out.
Yeah, as Motobud becomes aggressive at Sonic and attacks.
Yeah. And Sonic, keeping a relatively cool demeanor, is just like, that's not good.
And, and Tails wakes up.
It's a middle of the night.
I love this way of writing Tails saying Sonic's name, but very sleepily slurring it into it's SORNNNGH.
Yeah. Oh man. And then we hear a crash.
Tails is immediately awoken by that crash, and Sonic is concerned as we see Belle with her eyes glowing. Motobud's eyes are also glowing, but it's less clear on Motobud because Motobug's eyes are always glowing.
Yeah.
As Belle walks towards the door saying, "Get out. Have to get out."
And Tails just says, "Hey, wait," and remarks to Sonic.
Tails notices that their eyes are glowing, of course, because they're both under a control signal. Like what they were testing, but so much worse.
And she says to fight it, Belle.
He does. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry. He says to fight it, Belle. I know you can. And fighting is what happens as Belle raises her hand to strike, and Sonic blocks it.
Yeah, and the whole time while Belle is like under this control signal, she moves in a very like jittery manner.
Yeah.
Very much emphasizing like the sort of creepy puppet thing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And again, it's sort of into the horror element that Evan Stanley is very at home in.
Yes. And so Sonic does his best to keep the two badniks at bay here, while Tails just rifles through his stuff to find something to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
And Sonic, of course, trying to get to the bottom of this, asks for a clue from Belle, saying to blink once for Eggman, twice for Starline.
To which Belle responds, because Sonic is behind her, by turning her head all the way around and pulling her tail.
Sonic replies, I don't have that one in my blink code. Got anything easier?
And of course, as anyone familiar with Belle's tail will know, that's the activation trigger for her click ding kick.
Yeah. And Sonic remarks that she is not in a bantering mood. Noted.
Yeah, as he's standing in the wreckage of a bookshelf he kicked apart.
Yeah. And Sonic asks, how's it going in there, Tails? And Tails says he's almost ready. Hang on.
Motobud trips Sonic up, and then...
Oh, yeah. Then Belle just has a knife.
So Belle's fingers can... the tips of them can flip up to reveal various fun tools, like an X-Acto knife. That is now heading straight for Sonic's face.
He dodges very narrowly, and then there's Motobud working together with Belle. Really good coordination.
Pins Sonic's glove down.
Yeah. Woo.
And then Belle takes her other hand, unveils all of her fingers, giving herself a toothbrush, or some kind of brush, an X-Acto knife, a chisel. I don't know what that
screwdriver
is. A thing with a little hook, and then what looks to be a screwdriver.
Yeah.
And is about to just ram all that into Sonic's face.
Not where that
Tails
goes.
knocks her over. No, not where any of those tools go. And Tails notes that this is going to hurt, sorry in advance, and slams a little device that was first seen in the Zeddy Hunt storyline onto Belle, which electrifies her quite a bit. But then she's able to get up. And as a note as well, during the whole time where she is mind-controlled, her text boxes are all like squared.
Yes.
But she
Not,
goes back
yeah.
to having regular oval text boxes
Right.
when she gets up, saying that she is okay.
It is her. And, Tails asks if she's sure she's okay.
Yeah, and he mentions that what he slapped on her was a prototype of the Zeddy Zappers from the aforementioned Zeddy Hunt storyline,
Yeah.
which mostly is just there to indicate that he only has the one, and time constraints can't really make another.
Yeah.
For plot important contrivance reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But Belle, thanks to being in contact with the signal until it was jammed, realizes that it was a beacon, and it is calling all badniks in. She declares that Eggman is summoning an army, which is her understanding. Of course, in the Imposter Syndrome miniseries, it's very clear that this is actually Starline's doing. And I'm sure that will be very apparent to our heroes in issue 50 at some point.
Yes.
But Belle, with tears in her eyes, turns to face Tails, saying that she is going to find that man and give him a piece of her mind because she is tired of getting yanked around.
And it is very emotionally weighted.
Yeah. Evan Stanley's expression work, wonderful as always, getting across just so much emotion.
Yeah. And, Tails asks if Belle got the coordinates. Belle responds it was to the south, pretty far away, but it's already fading.
Yeah.
Sonic offers that they've still got one Badnik who knows where to go, with Motobud here.
Yeah, so they head outside with Sonic carefully holding Motobud upside down so he can't get away.
Just Badnik etiquette. You gotta hold him upside down.
Yeah, since all of the other Badniks have already run off, as they were previously playing outside, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Sonic lays down Motobud, and he vrooms off.
Yeah.
With our heroes giving chase.
And of course, on the way, we see more Badniks, more egg pawns, of course, and there are some people like out in the woods.
Yeah, some down home country folk in their pickup truck, driving hay in the middle of the night, like you do.
Like you do. One of them says, "Dang it, sit down! Don't get their attention."
The other's like, "We've got a clear path, blast our way through," and has a
Wispin.
Yeah, what's the green one?
Hover?
The hover, yeah, it has a hover Wispin.
And yeah.
But before they can start making any rash decisions, Sonic wusses down.
Lets them know that if you don't get in their way, they won't bug you.
Yeah, and directs them to a house and tells them to get in there and wait for it to blow over.
Yeah, what could have been like we're gonna fight and we got the people. It was just like, okay, this is a disaster area of some sort. You need to evacuate and shelter, and and the course of action is to avoid conflict and get to safety, as opposed to like a big action blockbuster thing where it's like, yo, it's time for the big fight. You gotta protect your hay. And I think that's a neat little way of resolving this issue.
Yeah, both for
just
like time, space, efficiency reasons, and just like, I don't know, it feels good to just have Sonic pull people out of there and then just be level-headed a bit.
Yeah. You don't always have to fight your way through every situation. Um, and they keep going, and we cut to later, where they've been following the Batniks for hours. Are they even
Yeah.
there yet?
At this point, the sun is just starting to rise.
Yeah.
Uh, Tails muses, wondering if they're getting any close. While Sonic notes that last time he checked, there was nothing out this way but these woods.
And
So Tails flies up to investigate, shielding his eyes from the sunlight that's coming over, only to behold a massive Eggman complex.
yeah,
A
look at
big
that.
ol' hexagon covered in what looks to be like,
Charlie Brown Christmas trees.
yeah, like these
Big aluminum
artificial
Christmas trees.
tree-like spires all surrounding a tower
Yeah.
with a big purple lightning signal coming out of it, and each segment of the hexagon is a different color.
It reminded me of the digital world in Shadow the Hedgehog a bit.
Yeah. I think also it's every Chaos Emerald color except gray?
It does, yeah.
But there's also just a bunch of gray around, so every Chaos Emerald color is represented. Whether that's deliberate or not, I don't know.
Chaos Emeralds are also just many colors, so, you know.
It's colors.
It's colors, you see. And Sonic says that's not a good face, even though Evan Stanley drew a really good face on Tails. Weird mistake.
Because Tails flies back down and lets Sonic know that there's an entire city, and it definitely looks like Eggman's. You can tell his face is on it.
Yeah.
This concerns Bell, saying that they have to stop Motobud.
But Sonic chimes in and says the little guy's not going to turn around, and he only knows one way to stop a Badnik.
Bell, very selflessly, suggests that they put the Zapper on Motobud instead, but Tails points out that as if they take it off of her, she'll be vulnerable to the signal. So instead, Bell comes up with another solution, that since he's been studying its constructions, he might be able to cut Motobud's power.
Sonic asks, and that won't scrap it, and she...
She pauses with a little ellipses and just says that she doesn't know. But she's not letting Eggman have this. Brings out a screwdriver fingertip and starts getting to work, opening up Motobud's insides. She pulls a wire out and looks very uncertain.
And Sonic informs her, hate to rush you, but we've suddenly gotten very popular.
Yeah, as all this has been happening, suddenly they are being beset upon by other Motobugs, by egg pawns, and there's even buzz bombers arriving from the sky.
Oh man, I love those. Oh man.
Tails looks back concernedly at Bell, who rips out the wire
And
from Motobud, and suddenly all the Badnik aggression stops.
Yeah. Sonic asks Bell, and
Bell finds something inside of Motobud's chassis.
a note.
A letter from Mr. Tinker. Which is meant for Bell.
Yeah.
That he wrote while he was held captive by Starline, while he was, repairing Motobud.
And honestly, this reminds me of when because we've been playing these Sonic games a lot, and this letter reminded me of Gerald and his posthumous words.
Yeah.
And much like how Gerald as a last message for Shadow, revealing a bit of the truth that was not there before. This is Mr. Tinker giving his side of things before everything else happened.
Mm-hmm. He notes that he is a captive, but he does not ask for rescue, since it's too late for that, and says it's a confession. Talks about how he's lived a good life, bringing everybody joy, and watching Belle become the wonderful woman she is.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about how Starline insists that he is Dr. Eggman.
He doesn't like that.
No, the idea of it turns his stomach, but he also can't deny the logic of Starline's evidence.
Mm-hmm.
But he denies, nonetheless, being Dr. Eggman, and states that if he somehow loses himself to this nightmare, that he is truly, deeply sorry to Belle and the world. He says he loves her, that he always will, and he says goodbye. Belle is heartbroken, as he just has to come to terms with the fact that he is gone. She lets the letter fly in the wind.
Thinking that she was foolish, in other words, to think she could make a difference. But Sonic stops the letter, and
he stomps it with his foot a bit.
Mm-hmm. And hands it back to her, and lets her know that she's already made a difference. And how, the little wins, the good memories between the hard times, the friends they found, those are real, and nobody can take that away. And that they'll keep moving forward together.
Tails mentions how they need to go check out the city and offers Belle the opportunity to go back to the workshop, saying that it's okay if she wants to.
But Belle declines.
She says that Sonic's right. And with determination written all over her face, she says, "Let's go," in big go letters.
Yeah. And Sonic tells him to hang on, and this calls for a little extra speed, and then a sonic boom happens. As they
see Sonic racing out of the forest and racing towards that ominous city and that ominous tower.
Yep. And that's the end of the issue.
Yep, and we're given a next time with telling us there will be Badniks, more Badniks, Dr. Eggman, Dr. Starline, Surge, Kit, and more. Oh.
Ooh, yeah.
And we get our next month, which is cover A of issue 50, which is not next month. That'll be 2 months from now.
Yeah, so just a little fib from the comic. Yeah. But, yeah, that was issue 49 of IDW Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, I mean, I really like that issue.
Yeah, I cried.
Mm-hmm. I kind of got a little emotional just now. Mm-hmm. Even as we're streaming and talking about this comic we've already read before. It's
the letter scene, it got me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a very good comic.
Mm-hmm. Belle's story has been building ever since Cherries and Batting Faces. She's been really the through line of the story of the comic, the main constant ever since her debut. And it's been really good.
Yeah. We are all big fans of Belle over here.
Mm-hmm. Evan has made a frankly wonderful, unique, and interesting character with also just a really fun design.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, like she's very unique. She's a puppet, and that's definitely not anything any Sonic character has really done.
And I really appreciate that. Just that thinking outside of what has already been done before. That I think it's really good.
Hmm. I I definitely don't think there's like been a Sonic comic character who's been this outside the box before
Mm-hmm.
Bell. Um,
Yeah.
and I guess it's hard for me to really evaluate a debut since Bell was really the first comic original character debut I was actually reading the comics monthly to be around for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sonic comics have a very long history, but I've only actually been a monthly reader very, very
Mm-hmm.
recently.
Yeah.
You know, since just before Bell's debut.
Yeah.
But I have loved everything about how Belle was introduced, how she's
Mm-hmm.
been handled since, just the way that her story has developed, the way that her character has developed.
Mm-hmm.
She's very much a tragic figure,
Yeah.
but it's not all doom and gloom with her.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
she has a lot of optimism and joy around her, even as her life has not been great.
Yeah.
Her father was taken away from her, and she didn't know what happened to him, and you know, she's have been having to come to grips with the fact that the man she knew, the man who created her, doesn't seem to exist anymore.
Yeah.
As all that seems to be left is Eggman, with Mr. Tinker being seemingly gone for good.
Mm-hmm.
I say seemingly and all that just because it's comics and it's fiction, so like never definitively say any character's gone, even if you see the body.
Yeah.
Um,
Unless it's Uncle Ben.
well, you know,
In that case,
backstory.
he only comes back when we're starting over Spider-Man again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor guy. I hear he's coming back, gonna be in the MCU just so they can kill him again. Messed up.
But Belle definitely goes through a lot in this issue.
Yeah.
Um, she has to deal with. I mean, first off, she deals with joy.
Yeah.
Um, that everything's going to plan. That you know, she can save the other robots that are in many ways like her.
Yeah.
As we see from just her being affected by the same signal that affects all of Eggman's robots,
Mm-hmm.
she is the same as them.
Yeah.
Eggman himself recognized her, even as he had only dim memories of being Mr. Tinker.
Yeah.
Because her construction was just like, he immediately could tell that it was his own handiwork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, in many ways, like all of Eggman's robots are her siblings, and
Mm-hmm.
here she was thinking that she had a way to free them all.
And things didn't quite go that way.
Yeah, and she found herself being manipulated and controlled, and
Mm-hmm.
that was very difficult for her, as, she's
Mm-hmm.
been, like she said, she's tired of getting yanked around.
Yeah.
Her emotions have been played with. She hasn't had a lot of ability to control her fate. The her her the one person she had, her only family, her father, was taken from her.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a lot of hurt in her.
Yeah.
And then she's forced in a desperate moment to potentially destroy forever Motobud.
Which in some ways is like the last remnant of her father, besides herself.
Yeah.
But then in doing
his
so...
only two living creations.
Mm-hmm. But then in doing so, she discovers a piece of her father that she didn't know was there.
Mm-hmm. His last message to her.
Yeah. And I think it's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a bit of a moment of growing up for Belle. And
even as it's been increasingly obvious to her the truth,
yeah,
she wasn't truly accepting
mm-hmm.
that her father was gone until this moment and this letter.
Yeah.
It wasn't until she saw his own words, his own thoughts,
mm-hmm.
right before he crossed the threshold,
yeah,
that she was able to accept it.
mm-hmm.
And now she's going to be presumably moving on, and this, the next two issues of the main series are probably going to be big for her.
Yeah.
And my only worry there is that I was not impressed with Ian writing her the last time he was.
That was in Zeddy Hunt, and if I may just shed some light on my own perspective, it felt close enough to the general broad strokes of her character as laid out by Evan Stanley, but just louder and more blunt. And
yeah,
with
Evan has been doing such a beautiful job with Belle, in my opinion, that quite frankly, any writer trying to write Belle is gonna have a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
And it's also why it worries me that, Evan is not going to be the writer on these two very important issues, which are the culmination of Belle's initial story arc.
Yeah. Belle...
I'm certain that, Evan is going to be, has had input on this, because this has all been written,
mm-hmm.
Well in advance by now. But it's still up to Ian to implement it. And admittedly, he has been impressing me with Imposter Syndrome lately. More than I've been impressed by his writing in a while.
But I'm gonna just say, Starline, Surge, and Kit are not the same kinds of characters that Belle is.
Yeah.
And being able to tell a gripping story with them does not necessarily automatically inspire confidence that he'll be able to satisfyingly conclude Belle's arc.
Yeah. If he can stick this landing, and I said it before, if he can stick this landing, then I will be thoroughly impressed and thoroughly willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on future times with his writing, including Frontiers later this year.
Yeah.
But it is a tall order to land this, quite frankly. Because while I personally still haven't been feeling too much, I guess until now, it still hasn't felt like we're building to anything, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For issue 50. And I still don't even... I haven't bought into the conflict of Starline versus Eggman and
I
the
haven't either.
conflict of like Surge and Kit versus the world, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's something we've been basically getting advertised to us since Imposter Syndrome started, and even before then. Like, I think the name Battle for the Empire was first
In Free
shown to us
Comic
in
Book Day.
August
Yeah.
last year, so like, you know, like, they've been trying to drum up some like hype or whatever for this, but you know,
Yeah.
the actual storytelling has not really been delivering on something that would give me anticipation for that upcoming conflict. But
Yeah.
Belle is a character I'm invested in.
Mm-hmm.
Belle is a character who I've been rooting for since day one. I've been loving every minute of her that Evan has written.
Mm-hmm.
And so, rather than being excited, I'm mostly trepidatious for issue 50.
Yeah.
Maybe Imposter Syndrome 4 will turn that into excitement. We can only hope.
Mm-hmm.
But as of now, and it's in large part because 49 is written by Evan, not Ian. So, I believe you at top of the show stated that, you know, it doesn't really give you expectations for what 50 might be. Did you say
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, because it's not the same writer, and we there's been so much like no spoiler, just nonsense surrounding issue 50 that like I know very little of what's actually gonna fucking happen in issue 50 besides a battle, which okay, whatever. Um,
It's hard for a battle to really excite me in general. Like, that's not really what I read these comics for.
Wow, two characters are gonna fight? Wow, I might as well be playing one part of one video game that'll last for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The excitement is getting me off my seat. You know, it's called Battle for the Empire, but the battle that's being advertised is Sonic versus Surge. So Surge is ostensibly sided with Starline. Sonic is not sided with Sonic. Sonic is not sided with Eggman. So it's like, what? What are we doing here? It's
Yeah,
like,
and I mean, technically speaking, Sonic's not even supposed to be here, right? Or is he? I guess we'll find out in Imposter Syndrome if Starline is expecting Sonic.
yeah.
It's honestly his plan has not been very clear to the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, the broad strokes of it are clear. I'm just not sure why he's doing what he's doing and how he's supposed to be going about it.
Yeah.
Like, we know what his end goal is, but we don't know what his plan is.
Yeah.
And an end goal is not a plan.
Mm-hmm.
A plan has steps. It has a logical through line.
You know, like, and we've had a lot of time to set up Starline versus Eggman. Starline has had a lot of time to be angry one-sidedly at Eggman, while Eggman just kind of happens to mention being a little embarrassed to even work with Starline at the start of Zeddy Hunt before leaving.
I mean, we've seen so little of Eggman. Like, the most of anything import we've gotten from him was that scene in Test Run where he meets Belle, and that was a great scene.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah.
But like, we haven't seen him since the beginning of Zeddy Hunt, where he didn't even need to be there.
And if you're
he served no real purpose.
And like, if you're gonna tell a story about Starline, about Belle, about Surge and Kit, that's great. I think that's wonderful, and I'm excited about those characters and whatever's gonna happen to them. But if you're gonna make it about a battling for the Eggman Empire, I'm gonna want to know what Eggman has in this. And the thing that bugs me, is just that there was a way to do this, and the answer lies in Belle. Belle is a walking, just blinking neon sign, just reminding everyone of how Starline hurt Eggman.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, if you're going to set up like, you know, they're gonna fight each other, like, it's not like, it might seem cool or fun or edgy to like have Eggman just not be interested in Starline, or think that Starline's kind of embarrassing. But like, if you're trying to make me hype for a battle, what's the angle? Am I gonna be hoping Starline can prove himself? No, he's an abusive parent to Surgeon Kit.
Hmm.
Am I just gonna hope that the whole thing falls apart so Surgeon Kit can divide and conquer? Then why is it called Battle for the Empire?
I guess to throw us off the scent, if anything, in
Maybe?
that case. But like,
And with
sometimes things are red herrings, so
That's
it might just be
true,
that.
but like, when it's the title of your milestone story, like, it's gonna be a little awkward when like the name for it is like a thing that's not really representative of what it's actually about. Like,
Yeah, and we don't know if it's like how it'll turn out because it's again the lead up has just not been very strong, and it
yeah.
doesn't help that Eggman has not shown up in months.
Mm-hmm.
It was even longer since he's had a relevant scene in the comics
Yeah.
because that was in Test Run, not
Mm-hmm.
SETI Hunt, because
Yeah.
he just had like basically a cameo,
Yeah.
and like so far in the lead up to the big battle that's supposed to involve Eggman, Eggman has been just window dressing.
Yeah.
He hasn't sewn up. We haven't like cut to his base. We've seen nothing of him reacting in anything Starline is doing, since presumably Starline has been flying under the radar, as that's his intention.
Yeah.
But we haven't like seen Eggman reacting to or speculating on the strange events that have been occurring, because they've been very public. All
Yep.
these strange events.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we haven't seen Eggman being up to anything, even. Like, it doesn't seem like Eggman's currently hatching a scheme, or else I feel like we know about it.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll come up with, have like, oh, I have actually a big prototype robot that's very dangerous, but that doesn't really mean anything. That's just a thing for Sonic to blow up.
Yeah. It just the motives, the stakes, they're all very, very confused. And I know fans of this comic get a little annoyed when this is brought up, but I'm just saying I was not so confused about what I was supposed to care about in Endgame.
Hmm. And
Oh, hey,
you know,
Breo, it's okay. We're all good. We're actually just having a nice discussion about how we feel about the lead up to 50. Now that we're through with the
yeah.
issue.
And for those not aware, by Endgame, we're not talking about that Avengers movie I haven't watched.
No,
Um,
talking about the Sonic the Hedgehog issue 50 conclusion of the Endgame storyline, which started in issue 47.
yeah, that was back in the artsy published Sonic comic series from the '90s, and
Yeah.
uh, it's a natural point of comparison, I feel, because this is also the '50s issue. It's also a big battle involving Eggman. Uh,
Yeah.
and there are even just some like fun coincidental
Mm-hmm.
things
Yeah.
to point out,
Yeah.
like how in Trial by Fire, which was part of the lead up,
Mm-hmm.
though less obvious at the time,
Yes.
the characters all go camping, and they have this
This campfire scene. It's
this campfire scene
tensions.
where emotional tensions are high, and
In issue
in
46 of Archie Sonic.
in the lead up to Endgame, there's a scene where the characters go camping, and there is a lot of tense emotions around the campfire.
It's pretty cute how that worked out.
Yeah, complete coincidence, absolutely certainly, as Trial by Fire's overall storyline was an idea that Evan Stanley had had for a long time, and it just
Yes.
happened to get fitted in here. But it's fun that it worked out that way. That it's
Yeah.
similar to like issue 25 of this comic series.
Uh,
Happened to focus,
mhm.
happened to have a very big moment surrounding Metal Sonic, whereas issue 25 of the old comic series was, of course, the Sonic CD adaptation.
Yes. There's another message from Freyo in chat. She writes, "That was an awesome story in Archie Sonic." We certainly agree. We are big fans of Endgame in this in Vince Labor Club podcasty stuff here.
Yeah.
And we'll probably cover it at some point. Hopefully soon. It sure is wonderful. But,
yeah, I think maybe after like this comics issue 50 is done, then we can have a retrospective. We can sort of compare and contrast them.
Yeah.
We'll probably. I mean, it depends. We might have a lot to talk about when we get to this issue 50.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It might be more for the Endgame retrospective that we talk more about how they compare.
Could be. But yeah, I just with Belle, she is a character that was created retroactively from from the concept of Mr. Tinker that kind of just got passed over pretty quickly. It felt like,
yeah.
And it's a monthly comic. They gotta get their main villain back, soon. I get that, but like,
Mr. Tinker was like the one thing from the first storyline of this comic that I really cared about to any degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I had issues with the issues it was contained in, but the idea of Mr. Tinker and in general the execution of the character I quite enjoyed.
Yeah.
But then, of course, he gets kidnapped by Starline, he gets tortured, and then brainwashed, and then, after that doesn't work, he eventually, sees Metal Sonic, and then something snaps correctly, and boom, he's Eggman again.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of lip service to that in the Metal Virus arc.
Yeah, where there's a moment where like Eggman just like, oh, why would I want to be Mr. Tinker? Just a beloved old man living out the rest of his days in a happy community where all of his inventions are appreciated and
Yeah, and there's like a moment where he like clearly is wistful for it, but it goes nah. And I'm not sure what I meant to take from it. If I meant to take like, oh, there's a bit of Mr. Tinker left in there, or oh, Eggman longs to be Mr. Tinker, or what. But after that, it didn't show up again.
Yeah.
Until Belle came along.
Yeah. Belle being a creation.
Well, I just want to state that, like, with what was established and done with regarding Mr. Tinker, after the fact, while I enjoyed it when it happened, it just ended up feeling like a waste before Belle came along, because it was there for so little, it had so little impact at the time on the comic that came after, and Belle really gave the Mr. Tinker as a story concept a second lease on life.
Yeah.
Mr. Tinker's a character is still gone, but the fact that he left something behind, and not just something, but like this really wonderful character, just made Mr. Tinker, like, retroactively a much more important and much more interesting plot point to me.
Yeah.
And my irritation at Mr. Tinker, not actually having an impact, of course, naturally disappeared as we get the impact of Mr. Tinker personified in a character.
In a character created by Evan Stanley, who was not involved in the creation of the original Mr. Tinker storyline.
Yeah, and like Belle, was 2 years later?
Something like that. Just and that's just the beauty of an ongoing comic series with multiple writers, is one writer can take a concept that was kind of maybe overlooked, maybe not developed enough, and then just, as you said, give it a new lease on life with this new addition to it.
And Belle is a very Evan Stanley character.
Yes.
In my opinion. Like, it's not just that someone made a character. Like, If Ian had made a character in Belle's place, it would, Ian would have made a very different character, because Ian is in my, opinion of having read both these writers quite a lot,
Yes.
Ian is a very different writer from Evan.
Yes.
Openly personal preference, I like Evan's style better, but regardless of that, like, they're very different writers, and they write very different things, and they have very different priorities when they, for their creative efforts. And so you really could have only gotten a character like Belle with Evan.
Yeah. I had a thing I was getting to.
Yes.
I'm gonna try and convey it with words, even though I'm not good at them. So like, just Mr. Tink was created by Ian. Then then Evan takes the concept and makes Belle, and now, for the conclusion of her arc, Evan takes the concept and hands it back to Ian.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get, like, after the comic's done, we'll get some behind the scenes stuff, probably from both Evan and Ian.
Yeah.
I'll certainly have my eyes glued to Evan's Tumblr.
Yes.
Where he has shared behind the scenes stuff before, which will probably talk about, like, exactly how much input Evan had. Because I have to believe that Evan has certainly had some input. This is her character. This is a character she's stated having a lot of, like, attachment to. And well so, because this character is wonderful. And I really hope that even though we will be seeing less of Belle once her arc has concluded, I really hope we keep seeing Belle, because I love her.
I love her too. She's so good. Yeah. This is, we're only an hour into the stream. We've already finished all the comic we're reading. And that can be due to, like, just, it's only one comic and not 3.
Yeah.
But, also, one thing I felt about this comic, and y'all can share y'all's feelings in contrast or whatever, but, like, it definitely felt like we are going through this this part of the story, and there's not a lot you can do between now and when the issue 50 story has to happen. It just...
This comic was set up.
It was set up, yeah.
And, it's issue 49, leading up to the big, literal double-size issue 50.
Yeah. And issue...
Which, hey, this issue 50 gets to be double size.
Yeah!
The Archie's issue 50 promised to be make size, and then they yanked that out from under the writer.
And they had to make do. Eventually they got to make a proper director's cut out of a Sonic Super Special, and we have that, thank goodness. And it's wonderful.
Which will be the version we'll be reviewing when we get to it. But
yes, but yeah, it is set up. It is and that is a bit of a come down from the very self-contained story of last issue.
Yeah, last issue we definitely had a lot to talk about, since it started and then ended there, which can definitely be a benefit. And certainly I think it was a great time to start our our reviewing, because we could just jump in with that.
And then,
but while I really like this comic, and it made me cry, and just Evan's art's gorgeous, Evan's writing is gorgeous, because this is not done story-wise, like, it's harder to talk about it in a definitive sense, as we're still waiting on the conclusion. And issue 50 itself isn't even going to bring the conclusion. We already know from solicits that 51 is also involved in that, and, like...
Yeah.
And hopefully... 50 is going to be double-sized, so hopefully it'll have more to talk about, but, like, this storyline still won't be done until 51.
Oh, it's hitting me. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I want it to be done! Sorry. Just, mm, mm. It's been a long road to issue 50, and we've had some good times and some okay times, but it's overall been kind of a exhausting time for me.
There's been a lot of, like, being advertised issue 52 along
Yeah.
the way. Um, and, we've not necessarily been interested in issue 50. I'm still not, like, sold on issue
Me
50.
too. Me too.
I'm gonna check it out, in part because we do this review series, but, like,
Yeah.
at this point, I'm just hoping that Imposter Syndrome issue 4, which I think will be a better indicator of what we're getting from issue 50, because that's the same writer in that case.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that Syndrome issue 4 leaves me feeling a bit warmer.
Yeah. You gotta
And
hope.
just to break from anything in the here and now, and talk about something that may or may not happen 2 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
If this comic makes it to issue 75, and if Evan is still on the book, both things that I hope are true, I hope Evan gets issue 75, because
Yeah.
Evan is ostensibly the head writer, and it feels weird that, like, all of Evan's writing and all of Evan's work with Bell is leading up to a conclusion that Evan is not writing.
It is very weird.
And instead, it's Ian again, and Ian was the only writer on the main series up until Evan started writing, and now there's 2 writers on the main series, and I've been told that Evan is the lead writer.
I've been told it's Evan's show.
Yeah, but, like, Ian is the one who's headlining the grand finale, the big celebration, the big 5-0 with the ridiculous, nonsensical amount of variant covers and double page length and
and like the thing about it the thing about it is in previous Sonic comic series, issue 50 was of course written by Ken Penders. Issue 25 was written by Mike Gallagher, the writer who came before Ken Penders.
Yeah, and Ken, by the time that issue 50 was around, had definitely established himself as the biggest writer on the book.
Yeah.
And so he wrote issue 50, but
just it just feels a bit, yeah.
I am excited that, like, following this issue, we're going to get another big block of just Evan writing again. We don't know really any details about what's going to happen, because it's very far out at this point. But Evan has stated that he's writing issue 52 through, I think, 58.
That's how she put it. She was also not sure if it was 58.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like, it's all very in advance, and we'll find out when we get there.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm glad that we're getting more Evan. I'm glad that he's, on this book. She is, in my opinion, elevating this book beyond where it was.
Absolutely, I can't agree more.
Her writing is just absolutely phenomenal.
I'm a big fan.
I think any comic series would feel lucky to have Evan writing.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's we're gonna hope this comic does well, because we like the people working on it.
And, like, I just feel weird not having more to say, but also it's just because, like, we're leading into something, and what we're leading into, we don't really know about, and it's not going to be until Imposter Syndrome 4 that I think we really get a concrete idea of it, because We know Starline is hatsing a plot. We know Starline is trying to take over the Empire. We know Surge and Kit are gonna fight Sonic and Tails. I mean, we know that just because, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need a storyline to tell us that. We have their character designs.
Yep.
We know who's gonna fight who.
Mm-hmm.
And we know who's gonna win. But that's not the point. The point is the journey. And
yeah,
I have no idea what kind of journey we're gonna be on for issue 50.
which is a weird place to be in at issue 49.
Yeah, and like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Because, I don't know, suspense can be good. I'm not feeling suspense, and I don't know if that's more on me or if that's more on the book, but
that's where we're at.
yeah, I would have liked to be excited for issue 50 at this point, and I mean, quite frankly, if Evan was writing issue 50, I would be. If for no other reason than because no comic Evan has written on this book has disappointed me even slightly.
Yeah.
Well, okay, there was a scene
in 48,
that I didn't like,
but like
in 48, but like I still love that comic, even with a really thing that I didn't like being in it.
And even in that case, we did write in, and Evan resolved our concerns satisfactorily.
Yeah. Which I very much appreciated.
Me too.
Evan has, outside of writing, always very much, from her social media presence on her Tumblr, has always proven herself to be a very conscientious individual.
Yes.
When anyone brings up concerns, her responses have been very good.
Yeah.
And just like, I feel like I can just trust Evan with my heart, and she can decide whether or not she's going to crush it or not.
That's her call.
And either way, I won't be mad. My heart was pretty crushed today. Or yesterday, anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad.
That's just how it goes sometimes.
Art.
So
beautiful thing.
Yeah. Makes one man weep and another man sing.
Power of art.
But like, yeah, so the gap between this and Imposter Syndrome issue 4 is, thankfully, much narrower than the gap between Imposter Syndrome issue 3 and this issue. So we'll be back.
Yeah.
Let me look here. I think it's May 4th, May 11th. But like, it's a Wednesday. It's early in May. We'll be getting Imposter Syndrome issue 4. We'll be back with that. If you haven't heard our thoughts on Imposter Syndrome, we're liking it so far. You can check out our VODs about it.
Yeah, we reviewed issues 1 and 2 at the same time because they both come out before we started doing these reviews.
Yeah. Then
we reviewed 3 basically right after.
Yeah.
And we've been waiting around for 4 because of this staggered release schedule.
Yeah, and we'll be getting it soon.
Yeah.
So we'll be back with more Bitsley Book Club very soon.
Expect to hear more concrete thoughts about how we feel about issue 50 when we're at the actual comic that is before issue 50, which is not 49.
We are very it's been a long road, as I said before.
Yeah, it's just... God, we're gonna have to reread issue 3 of Imposter Syndrome just to get it refreshed in our mind where it is, because it's been 2 months. This is why I don't like this release. 1 month in between comics, it's enough. It's enough of time. I can keep it in my mind fresh. The previous issue, not so much when you have to take a month off to read a different comic with a different storyline, and then
this is all very weird. It's all very weird.
Yeah,
but
I look forward to after after Imposter Syndrome is ended, when we go back to reviewing a comic that comes out every month, and we don't have to keep talking about a staggered release.
It just keeps bugging us. It just keeps being tedious.
Yeah.
But, the stories have been actually pretty decent throughout, so
Yeah.
that's something to be grateful about.
It's been pretty neat that we've actually been starting up these reviews, and even as we've often not been that big fans of Ian's writing, and especially lately, he's been impressing us. And then, of course, we've had Evan, and Evan is just really good. One of my favorite comics writers, honestly. Just
yeah. Gosh, if we started this with the Bitsley Book Club by the time of Zeddy Hunt, we would have been such downers. But that's not happening anymore. Thank fuck.
We don't have to ever review Zeddy Hunt. We didn't like it. Mm-hmm. There's our review. Didn't like it.
Because the second time, this is the second stream it's come up in. I think it came up in a shadow stream, and we're just gonna keep leaving it there as like a little cameo, a little peek at our just anger at maybe the worst storyline that this comics this series of Sonic comics has ever told. But yeah, if you're watching on Twitch,
feel free to give us a follow.
Yeah,
we tend to stream on Tuesdays, like 2 days ago, and Thursdays, which
like
is today.
Yeah.
And sometimes we throw in random bonus streams. Otherwise, if we feel in the mood.
Yeah. We're hoping to next week do some more Sonic with hopefully as soon as we can. Sonic 2006. I've ordered everything I need. Just the postal service is being a little weird.
But, once the post people get the technology to my gorgeous and lovely fiance, then we'll be able to play through that game.
And you'll get to hear me experiencing Sonic 2006 for the first time since I was but a child.
Mm-hmm.
I went through a whole adolescence between.
Mm-hmm. I played it through relatively recently, so I will be giving advice as I am wont to do. And
I'll very much appreciate every bit, just like we have with
even the wrong parts. If you're watching us on the YouTube, which we upload all of our, reviews and our gameplay VODs there.
Yeah.
Feel free to give us a like, give us a comment. Heck, tell me if you're excited. If the comics have done enough to make you excited for C50, tell me why. I'd be interested in hearing it, because I wish I was. I wish I could be excited rather than nervous about the upcoming issue, but it's not where I am right now.
Yeah, not where I am either.
We'll see how Imposter Syndrome 4 shakes out and how that might change things.
Freya writes in chat, looking forward to it. We're glad you're looking forward to it. We'll be having as much fun as we can, and then some. And it's just been fun doing these streams. It's been a cool thing. But I think I had a little more to say.
Just saying, drop us a line over in the comments. Tell us any of your thoughts.
Yeah. Till next time, I'm Felicia Rondo, and that's Cluster over there.
Hello.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.